I wish I was upbeat and happy. I am. I'm happy soul. But today wasn't as good as yesterday. Yesterday I thought things were moving forward. It's weird, isn't it? You take 2 steps forward and the following day you take a step back. But everything happens for a reason. And I'm trying to identify why I've taken a step back. Is it because of me, or is it because the world is out to get me? It's always down to me. It's always down to the person who perceives the way the world is behaving towards them. It's me. Anyway, so at the beginning of March, I sold 3 items to a fella in Guernsey. And it turns out that he didn't receive the items, and having investigated it, well, I asked him to open up an item not received case, and when I got round to investigating it, it turns out that I didn't do the CN22. I do remember seeing the CN22, but I didn't think that I had to complete it. But you do, then you have to complete one just like international. However, I didn't get the impression that I had to, because it did kind of happen. But I looked at it and I stared into the blank screen, and I just glazed over and I carried on and I sent it out. The problem is that particular order had a decent pair of scissors in it, and since then the bladed products system has come in. So I'm onto the bladed age verification issue, and the issue is that when I set up with tracking, I saw that the bladed products policy will only work with tracking, and I thought, well, I've got tracking, I can go and do all the rework and make available my scissors and sell them. And I did get another order. I got another 2 orders, one on my store and one on eBay, if you remember, if you've listened to the previous videos. However, it turns out that my original quote didn't include bladed products, or age verification rather. So last Friday I made several phone calls to Royal Mail. I was very upset about the whole thing, and she said it was going to take 5 days to actually set it up, and that I needed to go back through the account manager. And you know how difficult it is to try and get in touch with Royal Mail anyway and speak to somebody. You can if you're prepared to wait, and you can send messages if you're prepared to wait. And in the end, I'm the kind of guy who kind of gives up, but you can't when you're running a business. You have to hang on in there. So I persisted, and eventually I got a message back from somebody saying, here's the new quote. It was from the account manager, and I accepted it and sent it off, and I'm waiting. Every 15 minutes I'm checking the screen to see if they've put the codes in. Eventually I'll go to write a message, and I see that I've had a message back from Royal Mail from the account manager's manager telling me that the account manager's off sick. I thought, but don't worry, he said I've arranged for the accounts to be activated, which is dependent on me agreeing to the terms and conditions. And I said, well, I've done that. And I went back and had a look at it. It was stuck in it became a draft in my outbox, so it didn't go. I thought, oh, come on, man. So I went through the process again, and I checked it, and I did it about 10 times. So they got hammered with it at their end. And then I wrote a letter to the manager, basically pleading with them to prioritise it. Because tomorrow, if I don't resolve the matter by tomorrow, either pick, pack and dispatch the item again using age verification and the CN22, right, I've got to do a refund. It's about 30 quid. So I was a bit anxious, but between yesterday and today I've already had 7 people cancel orders on me. I thought something going on here. I've had 2 people ask to return the same product. I feel as if I'm under attack, but it's not. I've done it to myself. I wrote to one of the customers saying, please, can you tell me why you've cancelled it? I'm going to cancel it anyway. I'm going to approve the cancellation, but why did you cancel? And they wrote back to say, please forgive me. He said all I needed was the slider, and I couldn't find one, and decided to buy a zip. But when I bought the zip, I saw afterwards that there was a slider available. That's the reason. I thought, no, nobody sells the slider. But they are available, but I know one thing, he's going to end up buying the wrong one. For sure he's going to buy the wrong one. But I rather suspect he didn't buy the slider. He basically saw somebody else's zip for a lower price on my listing. Once they go through the process and they've purchased, paid, and then he says, further down it says you could have bought these cheaper. That's what eBay does, and they go and cancel it. And I'm thinking, what the hell, man? What the hell? So it's all distressing because you think like it's the end of the world. And I've never had so many cancellation requests before. It's a big problem. And I think I never used to get it when I was doing first class free postage. It never happened. I think I got one request every 6 months or something like that. But here I'm getting several a day. And it's because they're seeing the price is quite attractive, but when they get through to payment, they say they've got to pay postage and they're asking to cancel. So I was saying to my dad today, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? My dad gets agitated because he doesn't know. And I said, Dad, I said, and I keep saying to him, the only thing I can do is resort back to free postage again. But it's a lot of work. I mean, I've been switching everything over to a paid postage model for over a year. It's taken me a year to get to where I'm at, and I've still got 300 listings to go. I can't get at them because I'm firefighting with other things. I've messed up. I think I've messed up. So, my dad's getting agitated with me because he thinks I'm complaining about the amount of work that's involved. And I said, no, Dad, you don't understand that. It's not the amount of work that's involved that's the issue. It's making a decision which is the issue. Because once I make a decision to go back to free postage, I've got to stick with that decision and keep going at it. Otherwise, I'm just messing up the whole thing. He kind of saw what I'm on about, and I said, I've just got to make a decision. Like, do I do it? Don't I do it? Kind of thing. And my problem is that I'll get stuck in a loop. I'll tell you about these loops, other loops that I've been in the past. I know I've got to make a decision, and I've got to live with that decision. But I'm thinking, we had a further conversation. Once my dad realised that it's not about the work that's the issue, it's about making a decision, I have doubt about whether I should or not. He calmed down a bit. And my dad's 83, I've mentioned that several times, and he's in a lot of pain at the moment. He had cancer, he had his kidney cut out during COVID, and this pain has been with him for about 18 months, and it's getting worse. And it's acute pain, he can't sleep at night and things like that, so he's a bit agitated. And he'd been a lot of pain the other day, and I thought, sorry, I'm booking an appointment for him. And as soon as I booked the appointment, because I said to him, why don't you go ring up the doctor and book an appointment? And he was going like that, right, but with an Irish accent. So can you imagine what it sounded like? And I said, I'm reading between my lines. He's like a baby, really. I think a lot of old Irish fellas are. They're very proud. And I said to him, I don't say to him anything. I just basically went down the back and I rang up the doctor and booked him in. And then as soon as I told him, I said, you booked in Monday, he didn't object to it. He's almost as if he did it himself. Like, that's it, I booked in. I'm in now. And he's planning it. You know what I mean? He's got to be there 2 hours beforehand. I said, why didn't you just tell me to book it for you ages ago? I would have booked it for you. I know what he's going on me back. Oh, the pain. What he's really saying is, Martin, book an appointment for me. But he does it. His pride, his ego gets in the way. Anyway, he went to the doctors and they basically shifted him into the National Health Service again, so I actually do some scans and what have you. So that'll all be good. I'm just waiting for the letters to come through now. But I said to him, I weighed everything up. I said, I think I've got an idea of what I can do, Dad. To compete, it's become very competitive. You know, the prices are going up. I mean, today's the big day, isn't it? It's April Fool's Day. I think the tariffs are kicked in America. I think everything's gone up here in the UK today. It's all kicked in. All to do with the planets and Mercury Retrograde. You wait and see. Hopefully Mercury Retrograde will undo everything. Because it usually does. Maybe Trump will step back and they'll cancel the national insurance contributions and all that kind of thing. They'll realise that they've messed up. Hopefully they realise they've messed up. But, you know, my dad said there's 9 organisations today putting up their prices. And I've cleaned up my email box because it was getting, I get 10 million spam emails a day. So I've gone through, just tidying everything up, spent a couple of hours at it just to get some balance back in my email account. And I could see that there's notifications from different companies that I use telling me that the prices are going up in accordance with the rate of inflation or £3.50, whichever is higher. You know, that kind of statement, because they're all at it. So everything's going to go up. And I said, but I want to be in a position where I can turn around to my customers and say, look, this is all doom and gloom, ladies and gentlemen. It's all going up. All the prices are going up. But here at Thread and Trimmings, we're putting the prices down. That's what I want to be able to say. How can I say that? How can I make that happen? So I've looked at my thing, and I said to my dad, look, what in the past we did first class free postage. Customer didn't have to worry about the postage. If they bought multiple items, I gave them a decent discount of 10, 15, 20% off, and I gave eBay 7% as well to promote it. But I also saw sales going down. But I needed to make a profit, so I built in a decent profit. But the issue is, right, that when there was multiple purchases, I made a good profit. But I also insisted on making a profit on one item. Otherwise, I've always felt as if I was a busy fool. But the reality is, what you've got to do is sell at cost. The first item, if they just buy one item, you've got to send it out the door and say, Zygazons, enjoy yourself. Thank you very much for doing business with me. Here's my details about my shop of where you can buy it from me direct in future. And there's a discount to come over and have a little sniff around my store, right? That's what I should be doing. And if on eBay they buy, and it's therefore a marketing opportunity. That's how I've got to see it. A cost of acquiring a customer. A 10% discount and not making money on that purchase. If on eBay they buy several items, then I make a profit. Then it's decent, it's okay. And if I can incentivize a lot of people to do that, then it'll make quite a few profitable orders. But to do that, I've got to discount my prices down to cost to break even. So I said to my dad, since I've switched a lot of my listings over to paid postage on a first class model, what I could do in the meantime to give myself some breathing space is change the postage profile to second class from first class to second class and reduce the price for the paid postage. I think I'll charge in £2.29 down to £1.65. I charge $2.29 plus 10% extra for each additional item. And I'm thinking of reducing it down to $1.65 for second class postage, flat charge, and then rework all my prices in that category until it's at free postage, free second class postage, at a break-even price. It'll give me a problem in the future for maintaining prices, but incentivize them to buy more. It's going to take me a good while to work through it, but I think it's possibly the only way that I can go forward with eBay and basically recognise that eBay's finished for me in terms of a profit centre. That it's not going to give me a decent profit to live on. And what I should be doing is just focusing on cash flow from there in order to pay bills and allow me to buy stock and focus heavily on my own store and promote that, because the orders I get on my own store, they're decent orders. The people come along and buy, spend like 40-50 quid when they spend that kind of money. On eBay it's a couple of quid a time. You know what I mean? It could be bigger on eBay if I played the other game, the high volume game, where they're incentivized to do multi-buy. But equally also on my own store, I think there's a barrier to customers purchasing, achieving more sales, and I think that's also the postage. So I think what I'm going to do is move to second class postage. I'm thinking of charging £3.49 flat fee for any purchase up to 50 quid. After 50 quid they get free second class postage. So it's second class postage, £3.49 second class postage up to 50 quid. Over £50 is free second class postage. But give them an upgrade option of the first £25 for £3.99 first class, second class, second £25, so anything between 25 and 50 attracts £4.99 postage, and any spend between £50 and £75 is £5.99 first class postage, and anything over £75 is free first class postage and 10% off. That's what I'm thinking of doing. It's a 10-minute job to get that right, to get that, to implement it, and then it's away, and then it's just a matter of changing the actual terms and conditions and marketing it and letting people know that I've put the prices down. Hey, here at Thread and Trimmings, we go against the grain because we like that. Royal Mail are putting the prices up, we're putting the prices down. These are the new postage rates, and send that message out. Program it to go out 2 or 3 times over a month. Do it on social media. Do it wherever I can, you know what I mean, on the promotion, on the updates, whatever. Just program that to happen automatically and sit back and see what happens. I won't lose from doing that because I've got the tracked services and they are lower prices. But the customers don't know that. They know what the customers know is they know that prices are going up. Everybody knows it from a retail point of view. Postage keeps going up, and they know that from today it's gone up as well. The penny stamp has gone up. So I'm going to do that. That's what I think I'm going to do. And I'm going to try and sell or trade my way out of this problem. And all being well, who knows? I mean, eBay might come good if I implement that strategy. But I've got to basically put a lot of work in. Which brings me back to, which can feel overwhelming at times, but it brings me back to a comment that one of the YouTube people said on one of the posts about 2 weeks ago. He said to me, "Can you not find an extra hour a day to do the work?" And I sat back and I thought, yeah, I can, because you see, there comes a point in the afternoon where I've had enough usually, and I'll switch off and I think, that's it, so I'm going home, especially during the winter. It's so cold here. But even then, when I go home, I could put an hour in at home. I could put an hour in here. In actual fact, I could work through till midnight if I really push myself. You know what I mean? I've got so much I could do. There's probably months worth of work that I could probably collapse into a month. You know, I could probably get 6 months worth of work done in the space of a month if I put in an extra 4 or 5 hours every night until it's done. So this is what I've got to psych myself up to do that, and it's within my capability. I can do it. I know I can do it. It's just, do I want to do it? I think, yeah, I do. You know, I want to last hurrah. I want to see if I can equalise and get myself moving forward again, because there's so many exciting things coming up. One of the things I'd like to do is that Facebook group. That's on the radar. If I can develop a Facebook group, and there was a girl, remember I was talking about, her name is Lisa. She basically said that she set up a Facebook group for a local area, and she just basically sells to those people, and she insists that they come and collect. She doesn't send postage to them, so she doesn't have postage problems with it. She gets to meet the customers. They're giving her cash. If it's not cash, she's probably using a phone or something to tap and go, and fewer headaches. And she reckons she makes anything up to £2,000 a month, maybe even more profit from that. So I've got to give that a go as well, and that needs a lot of work. And the only way I'm going to get that work done is if I stop making bloody videos. No, I want to keep making the videos, but if I basically put the effort in. So I think I've just gone into my postage profiles to block Northern Ireland, and I've gone through them again, second time round now. There's just one profile that's not accepting it. I don't understand why. So I'm going to see if I can do something with that. And then I've just activated the combined postage option, because when I had a conversation with a girl from Dublin yesterday, she showed me what to do and explained that what will happen is that the customers will put several items in their basket, and they'll just wait. They won't pay basically until I send them an invoice, a revised invoice. So I've just got to keep my eye out for that. But I guess I need to make a statement, an announcement that I'm doing combined postage. But my combined postage goes against the grain, because I charge £2.29 plus 10%, an extra 10% for each additional item. It's part of my profit model. I think I might need to go into the actual postage profile and change that. I don't know. I've got to go and figure it out. But if I move back to the free postage model free second class postage model, eventually I won't have the problem of doing the combined postage, but I'll have another problem, which is, where's my bloody order? Because that's what happens at the second class. Where's my bloody order? You know what I mean? They say because the Royal Mail don't prioritise them, do they? And there's always the risk that they'll, what's the word, phase it out. But in the paid postage model for, no, the free postage model for second class free postage, I'll give them an upgrade option to upgrade to first class, and I'll make that cheap, so that it kind of incentivises people to get out of the first class. That's what I really want them to do. But it allow me to make my product offering, the price offering for my products very low, and it should win views and visits and purchases. The only issue I'll have is managing the prices when prices go up, and I know that we're gonna go through a period now of all prices going up. I mean, one of the emails that I saw was from one of my big suppliers, and he had a list of what's the word, brands where they're saying between 3 and 9% price increases for this and this company. So they're coming, the price increases are coming. However, when you sell a product at an old price, you're still making a profit on it. It's just the cost of acquiring the new product, but then you just price accordingly. So whilst it was also a worry in the past, it's not really a worry going forward. And I suppose if prices do go up in the future and it catches me out on a free postage model, all I've got to do is go and add 10 or 15 or 20p on to that postage profile and make it it's no longer free. It's second class plus 15-20p, and then as I go through them again on the second round trip, I just basically reprice it back into free postage in a different postage profile. There's ways around it, basically. There's loads of ways I can cut it. I do think though that one of the best ways to actually deal with all this is to reduce the amount of lines that I've got. I think I've got too many for eBay. I've got too many product offerings. I think it's too difficult to manage. On my store, it's not a problem because they spend like, I get people just buying one item and spend 3, 4, 5 quid, under 5 quid. You know what I mean? And then I've got people who spend like 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. I think I could increase the number of people that spend more by removing that postage profile at £3.29 for anything under a fiver. I've got to make it £3.49 second class, anything up to 50 quid. I can do that because I've got the tracking, the new track service. Anyway, that's an update on where I'm at. Hopefully I'll have some kind of new progress to report. I'm going to basically go and do a mind map now and capture my thoughts where I am, and I'm going to home in on one thing, and I think it's going to be the postage profile on my store. I think I'm going to fix that, get that done, and once it's done I can basically hopefully get more sales. So adios folks, thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I do appreciate the views. I really would like to know who it is that's watching my videos. Seems to be the same sort of 10-15 people, but who are they? Who are you? Thank you.